So just to show you this on Dan's logo here, he has a background and then the foreground. So I'm going to do the background first. Just going to take a rectangle tool, and this will be the layer. And the rectangle tool right now is just to fill or switch it so it has just the stroke, and draw this across like so. And you can see it kind of tapers a little bit, so I'm going to do that in a second. But inside, these widgets allow you to turn the curve along to that side. And then I'm just going to go to Object Path and offset the path. And what happens is that with the Preview button, this will show you this is a 10 points, PT for points. And when you click on it, I'm just going to go to the arrow key so I can watch the screen and make it a little bit smaller for that part right there. And click OK. And now that I look at it, it probably has to come in a little bit with the angle that he has for that curve. But I'm able to put a piece that's equal distances there to help me there. The selection tool is on the left, direct selections on the right. So I can grab these pieces and just angle it. Looks like he has a slight taper to the logo that way. Okay. And now this color guide, if you don't have the colors, just take a look under Windows where all the menus are, and you'll be able to bring those pieces across. So when you click on it, there's color guide, there's color section on here. So you have both panels open, and color themes is another selection, so you can take a look at that. I'll come back to that one a little bit, but the color theme shows you all kinds of options with the colors for the monochromatic color scale, all the different parts of the color section that you can apply to this. So it gives you this color array. And as we get into more talking about the color section, you can see the selection for everything as it grabs. So they've updated a little bit onto their screen there. So for these sections, I'm just going to use the pen tool to create this before I start to color it. When I get down here, I'm just going to stretch this handle out a little bit with the Shift key to keep it straight. That way the next curve fits right into there nice and easy. And again, Shift keying it just to kind of get a little bit of proportion to it. And I can, instead of trying to do dots all the way across, I'm going to click right at the end and drag the handle out so I have a nice smooth curve. The least amount of points gives you the better approach to it. Okay, and then there is a hole cut out of it, so I'm going to take the ellipse tool and Shift key to just place that right there. And I'll give this a color here, so let me give it a fill color here. I think I will. Let's see. Come back to my color palette. And just so it can show a difference of the two. So you have these two pieces, and I'm going to Shift key to select them both. So now they're both selected, just moving it so that you can see that they're both selected. And there's a window up here called the Pathfinder. So I'll bring that up. I had it open right there. And again, these options here, the second one, when you leave it over, it says minus the front to the top, so that takes that piece out of there. So that gives me that option. And I can use that one again, so I'm going to take the color out of it so I can see through it. And you could just draw this again and illustrate it, but I'm just going to Option to duplicate it, and then take the direct selection tool and click on these points here and just bump them up to here, so that gives me the shadow. So I'm going to click it so it's a fill of black. I'll click on this one. This is going to have green, and just go to Object Arrange, and I can bring it to the front, forward, backward, all the way to the back. I'm just going to bring it all the way to, let's see if I can bring it all the way to the front. Object Arrange, bring to front. Doesn't seem to want to come. There we go. So now it's up in the front. So I can do the same on this one here. So taking the pen tool and just clicking this down. And again, when I come down here, I'm just going to hold the shift key and click to draw the handle out. And I can come on this side and just hold the shift key and draw this handle out. Makes a nice curve. Okay, click on it so it sets it as a corner point. Click on this one. And here I can go to this end point. So I'm trying to show a couple different ways to bring that across. I'll turn the fill off for now. Drag this across. I'm going to go in the midsection of here. Spacebar allows me to move the point. And coming up to this side. And again, the spacebar allows me to do that. And then once I get to the end, then I have that piece. So once I have this section, I'm just going to take an option and duplicate it. Set it off to the side here. Maybe drop it down a little bit. Trying to match his. You could redraw this instead of using the duplication, but I'm just going to take it a little bit. So I'm taking this corner point using the arrow keys just to bump it over. Click on this one to move it up here. And you can see this a little different here, so I'm going to hold the shift key and select all of these and just bump them up a little bit. And then take this one with the shift key, grabbing this one and just moving it over a little bit. And then just taking these bottom two. Now I could just grab the handle and bend it in like that, so it gives me a couple of options. This one here, I'm just going to select the two of these to move this over. And again, I can click on this point. I'll zoom in so you can see it. And just adjust the handles or move the point to match his design a little bit better. Okay, so there's that. So I'll give that a solid piece there. Bring this one to the front. A different color. So now I have these two images. I have the background, these two pieces here, so I'll fill them both with white. Different color in there, so gives it a subtle change to it. And then when I select them all, I can hit Object Group or Command G for the grouping of together. It's now it moves as one element. Okay, and you can see he has a little bit of a texture in there, so you can try the gradients. Up here is the gradient palette. When you go into the gradients, there's also a section called swatches, which brings you all these colors. And clicking in these pieces, you'll see all the different sections for it. So let me just grab this one with the direct selection since it's grouped together. And here's the pieces. So there's patterns, gradients, sections in there that you can manipulate to use into that segment. And it'll give you a little bit of help with a piece that you can click on Learn More, because it does have that option for it. So you can do that. And inside this window there's a number of gradients that you can choose from. So you can bring all these apart too. So just to show you where they're at, you can again try this. Here's like a little library that you can toggle through to get some of these different approaches to it. Okay, and then just hiding the edges. Let's see. So that hides the guides. This hides the background. Tab key hides all the windows. Plus sign gives me this. Command Shift 4 again gives me that selection. Command Tab will get me to the Finder. The Finder just going to the desktop. If I have just the recently date added, his will show up right here. When you select that one time, you can retitle this, and that'll get you your image ready to go.